Measure U, the second half of Measure U, we campaigned on investing the money in the community, in inclusivity, in a variety of categories. Climate, affordable housing, investment in often forgotten commercial corridors, youth, workforce development, the creative economy, and more. Measure U is a general tax, and Measure U is the same as the general fund. And so what I asked the budget team to do 2 years or so ago, is to combine Measure U and the general fund and answer this question. Taking the baseline of investment we made prior to November 2018, when the second Measure U passed, in those categories, how much have we increased funding since November of 2018? And as of last year, the staff reported that we've spent $119 million in affordable housing, in homelessness, in climate, in workforce, in youth, in commercial corridors, in the creative economy, above where we were in November 2018. One of the things, and I think that, so here's the way we all know this works. The advocates, the public, and the elected officials, our job is to acknowledge what we have done and take pride in it, frankly, but to not be satisfied because the needs are so much greater. The role of certainly the fiscal staff, and to some degree the city manager, is to acknowledge and celebrate all that we have done and to say, well, wait a minute, this is only how much money we have, and therefore we can only go so fast to do more. And that's the tension and the creative tension here. I think we can accommodate that and each other. That's what the debate and the fight is about. And I'm going to continue to fight for more, but I also think it's really important that we acknowledge how we have changed the arc of this city over the last 3 years since the passage of Measure U. Because that $119 million outward to the community does not include the CARES funding, of which 80% or more went out to the community in the same categories, nor the ARP money that went out to the community in largely the same percentages. And now we're faced with kind of a flat budget. But you can't look at one budget in a static time. You have to look at the trend and the arc. And in that way, to me, the glass is, despite the tension and the arguments, the glass is more than half full in terms of where this city is headed. And I think we ought to acknowledge that, and I'm proud of it. And now we need to figure out how we keep going and how we balance the priorities in a way that makes the most sense. Specifically, and so one of the things I want to ask the staff, and if possible, as quickly as possible, if you can update that chart, that $119 million chart from last year, to show us now another year past, another mid-year, a proposed budget here, how much money have we spent or will we spend in the categories of neighborhood-based investments. In all those categories, how much will we have spent if we pass this year's budget starting from November of 2018 when Measure U passed? I think that would be very helpful and put some of these discussions and debates into context. I want to reiterate again on climate because it's taken a lot of attention tonight and importantly so. What I would like to come out of this budget is either enough additional staffing or additional contracting to be able to finish that climate action plan sooner rather than later and present it to the city council, and to scope the 7 projects and as much of the other work as we can. And if we can get started with that $6 million that our public works director outlined that's already dedicated to that, and maybe make a couple of other tweaks and choices, get started on a couple of projects, that's not all or nothing. That's setting a direction. It's moving in the right direction. It's showing purpose, and it's doing so within our means. That's what I would like us to do. We need to have an important conversation in this budget cycle about youth, and specifically about the $5 million that the city council did allocate at mid-year. We have to continue to spend that on youth. And I know Councilmember Chenier is already working hard on the right things. But I'm worried about the summer, as we're all worried about the summer. And I just want to make sure that we are conscious and purposeful, whether it's Friday night lights or whatever it takes to do as much intensive programming as we can this summer for our young people. I also want to go back to one small thing that I've talked about. I would like the Sacramento Police Commission to have its own staff person. I think that would help us. And it doesn't have to be a new position. It could be repurposing a vacant position, Mr. City Manager, whatever it might take. I think that would eliminate a lot of the tensions in that area that we have all experienced. And I think that's all I have for now in terms of flagging and highlighting the issues. Let's do some good things together. It's different than mid-year or last year, but let's continue to move the arc of the city in a direction that is inclusive, that focuses on what the people are rightfully asking for. More attention to poverty, more attention to our neighborhoods, more attention to affordable housing, more attention to homelessness, more attention to climate and youth. Let's do it within our means and have honest discussions about our choices, okay? Thanks, everybody.